Mike McGarry from the Press of Atlantic City will give us his thoughts on that and so much more as we got first place Phillies. The Eagles are back. We also have got, obviously, the Sixers Summer League gets underway today. We'll get to see Maxey and company. Check that out over on our website, 973ESPN.com. All right, Michael, what's going on, man?
Hey, how are you? Big weekend down at Citizens Bank for the Phillies there, sweeping the Mets.
Yeah, so give us a little, I heard 39,000 yesterday. We talked on Friday about the crowds, and they came out this weekend. So were you at all three?
Yeah, I was. I was at all three. I thought the first 2 days the crowds were boosted by a lot of Met fans in the place. Especially on Saturday, the Met fans seemed to buy out that whole second deck right below Harry the K's there in Citizens Bank. But yesterday's crowd was, 39,000. Not many Met fans in there. And I'll say this, I think it was the first time that the ballpark actually felt like it felt in 2007 to 11. Same sort of energy, same sort of electricity. The crowds were great, hanging on every pitch from the first pitch thrown to the last. Just a tremendous job and a good weekend for baseball and a good weekend for the Phillies down there in South Philly this past week.
Yeah, I've heard the same that Friday, Saturday, more Met fans kind of dwindled out, from Friday to Saturday and then to Sunday, and that the energy was there, and now the team backed it up. Give us a thought on what you saw from Wheeler yesterday, and I would have to imagine, Mike, in any situation, the Phillies have got to go to Wheeler in a Game 1 situation if that would be something that happens.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's time we start thinking of Zach Wheeler as a Cy Young candidate right now. I mean, I think he leads the National League in innings pitched. He leads in strikeouts, and he did what an ace is supposed to do yesterday. They had a chance to drop the hammer on the Mets. They win the first 2 games. They got their best pitcher going in to sweep the series, and Wheeler comes out and he's just outstanding. And it's today, it kind of, these things seem to happen in baseball all the time, right? And today they retire Roy Halladay's number, and Wheeler pitches like Roy Halladay. He talked about seeing Halladay's number 34 on the back of the mound, how that gave him some inspiration. And, he retires 22 in a row, and he's the first Phillies pitcher to do that since Halladay retired 22 in a row, on his way to 27 in a row in the perfect game he threw against Florida back in 2010. So it was really all facets of things coming together for Philadelphia. And home runs, right? Their 8-game winning streak, they've hit 18 home runs. So they've been able to really out-hit a lot of their weaknesses during this stretch.
Yeah, Mike, I guess the big story over the weekend is 4-2, 5-3, 3-0, close games. And this is something that the Phillies bullpen has been a problem with, close games. The bullpen didn't rear its ugly head really till Saturday night. That game got a little dicey, but the fact that the bullpen has not coughed up a game over this 8-game streak.
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking about, who's the MVP of this streak, right? You got a lot of candidates. You got maybe Bryce Harper. You got Zach Wheeler. But it might be Dave Dombrowski, because Dave Dombrowski goes out and gets Kyle Gibson from the Texas Rangers, and he starts the streak, 8 days ago by beating the Pirates in Pittsburgh. That starts the streak. Then he pitches great on Friday night against the Mets, gets that series off to a good start. And then Dombrowski also in that same deal brings in Ian Kennedy. And does anybody think Kennedy comes into Saturday's game after the Mets hit 3 straight home runs? Does anybody think that anybody in the previous that had tried to close previously, I think even Suarez, Naris, none of those guys are getting out of that jam. I mean, Kennedy puts 2 guys on, but then strikes out Alonso and Davis and throws nothing but fastballs by him, really uses his veteran moxie to sort of get out of that jam right there. So if they can sort of secure that 8th and 9th inning with Bradley and Kennedy, if they can, kind of rely on their veterans and their experience to get the 8th and 9th, then you're sliding Naris and Alvarado down to the 7th inning. I think you got the makings of a decent bullpen there, but it all doesn't happen without the moves that Dombrowski makes, right before the trade deadline.
Yeah, Mike, I was a little, I was kind of torn because Suarez, obviously now it gives him 5. I don't have to watch Velasquez. I don't have to watch Chase Anderson. I don't have to watch Matt Moore. So it gives the rotation the 5-man length. But now you also took Suarez out of a spot that he was kind of performing well in. But I guess if you have better starting pitching, the bullpen doesn't have to be as precise. You don't need as many guys. So adding Suarez and now having Kyle Gibson, if they get Eflin back, they got 5 pretty good starters. And if you get into a playoff series, you can move Suarez back to the bullpen.
Right, absolutely. You had to fix the Matt Moore, Vince Velasquez situation. You could not continue to play baseball games where you were down 6-0 in the third inning, 7-2 in the fourth inning, and starting to lengthen him. Adding Gibson, now you get two quality starts. And think about that Mets series. How does that Mets series change? Gibson pitches Friday, Suarez pitches Saturday. Suppose it's Moore and Velasquez in those spots.
Oh, there's no question. If you have more,
bullpen, they're still not a good defensive team.
Right. You mentioned the defense. I was going to get to that, Mike, with the defense. That's the one thing right now that keeps them from being maybe a serious contender is they don't feel the ball still. But when Galvis comes back, that's going to bring up an interesting move for Joe Girardi.
Yeah, I think what you're going to see there is you're going to see Alec Boehm. Remember the days of Pat Burrell, right? 2007, 2008. He was basically like a 6-inning guy in left field. As soon as the Phillies got that lead, he'd be out for a defensive replacement. So I think what you're going to see at third base is the same thing. You're going to see Alec Boehm play 5-6 innings, and then if the Phillies get the lead, you're going to see him get out of the game for a Galvez or Torreyes and get a defensive guy in there because the defense is still a problem. Boehm was not good at third base this past weekend. He made three errors. He could have been charged with at least one more, maybe two. But nobody's talking about it because the Phillies played great and they hit a lot of home runs and pitched well. But the defense is still a weakness there. Can't fix everything at the trade deadline. Some things have to be left to the offseason. But I think the moves the Phillies made really solidified them and really sparked them to go on this run.
Well, Mike, they did get Galvis who could play short. He could play third. He could also play some outfield if they had to have him out there. So we'll see how they use him when he gets back. I want to ask you about the Mets because they got 13 of their next 16 against the Dodgers and Giants. Are they basically leaking oil to the point where they won't be able to recover?
Yeah, there's a trail of transmission fluid as the team bus pulled out of Citizens Bank Park onto Darien Street there yesterday afternoon. They've got 3 games coming up with the Washington Nationals Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And then they've got the Dodgers on the weekend. So these are kind of a key 3 games for the Mets coming up. I think the Mets, they haven't hit all season. They didn't really hit in this series except for the 9th inning on Saturday where where all of a sudden they hit 3 straight home runs to kind of climb their way back into that game. They pitched better than expected earlier in the season, but now DeGrom is out. Taijuan Walker has kind of come back to earth. Stroman has come back to earth. So they are definitely in a little bit of trouble. But as we've seen, things can change in a hurry. 8 days ago, the Phillies were 4.5 games out of first place. Now they're 2.5 games ahead of the Mets. They picked up 7 games in 7 days. That's really unheard of in baseball. So things can change in a hurry. And the Mets got to take advantage of playing the Washington Nationals Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday because you're right. Their schedule does sort of toughen up. And conversely, the Phillies have got to, they've got a lot of momentum, but they got to kind of survive this stretch coming up. 3 against the Dodgers, 3 against a sneaky good Cincinnati Reds team over the weekend that's actually closing in on the Brewers a little bit. The Phillies got to survive this stretch a little bit, and then their schedule lightens up dramatically after that.
All right, Mike McGarry from the Press of Atlantic City. Check out his must-win column on Fridays in the Press of Atlantic City. So we got more Ben Simmons shooting 3 videos. This time, he's working out with Rajon Rondo, another guy who doesn't shoot the 3 all that much. So is that more reason for you to take Ben Simmons' off-season workout seriously?
No, when does it? I actually think some people think I'm a troll. I think Ben Simmons is trolling us by just throwing these videos up there because he gets the reaction. He knows the reaction he's going to get. And that, you said it. That's the first thought that came into my head. At least if you're shooting, shoot with a guy who's a good shooter. Maybe something will fall. Maybe it'll go to you by osmosis or something. Rajon Rondo might be a worse shooter than Simmons.
Well, they're both acknowledging that they need help.
Yeah, can you shoot with somebody who's good? Maybe positive reinforcement or osmosis or something in the air will rub off on you because I don't think anybody in Philadelphia is getting sucked in by these videos. And honestly, I for the life of me, I don't know why Ben Simmons continues to post these videos of himself shooting in the offseason.
Well, I'm not sure that he's posting it. It's just that he happens to be there and people are videoing him as he's shooting. Now, here's the problem, Mike, and as you can well chronicle, you've seen him make a million three-pointers. The stroke, it looks fine. The problem is not that he can't, it's that he won't.
Right. Well, the problem is that he doesn't do it in games, right? I mean, I saw the tape today. He's kind of a basic shooting drill. He's going maybe a quarter speed. When you start making them in games or when pressure's on, that's when there's a difference. You can see all these videos now, and you're right. Before games, we see Ben Simmons shooting, and he makes them all. Every NBA player does. I sit there before a game and watch Dwight Howard sink 8 of 10 3-pointers, before the Sixers play a game. So every NBA player with nobody on them and going at quarter speed can shoot the ball fairly well. But these Simmons videos show, absolutely nothing. And right now we're just kind of waiting on, when the Sixers tell us that Ben Simmons isn't coming back next year.
Well, I guess, and we all speculate on when that happens, when it might happen. Like, does that change by the day? Are they, waiting on the Lillard stuff? Is that fluid still, or is that kind of dead?
I would assume that they're still trying to make a move. I mean, I'm no reporting on that fact either way, but I would think, the Sixers have to be resigned. It would be very difficult to bring Simmons back. You hear reports that Simmons isn't answering phone calls from teammates. He's not talking to anybody in Philadelphia. Who knows if those things are true? But it doesn't seem to be a good situation now between him and the team. And again, I've maintained all along that nothing was going to happen till the Olympics were over, because I think the number one target is Dame Lillard, and you don't trade a Dame Lillard without Dame Lillard being involved in that trade. And he was over in Tokyo until this past weekend, helping the U.S. win a gold medal. So now maybe that Lillard's back, and I think he's the number one guy you got to get. I mean, I hear some of these other offers, and I just shake my head. I'd rather keep Simmons than trade him to Sacramento for De'Aaron Fox or someone like that. Lillard, to me, is the guy. And, you have to wait for him to get back from Tokyo before I thought trade talks there would really progress.
I keep him, too, if he starts shooting threes like this guy in the video.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, hey, here's the deal. If you keep him, it's really rough. You're going to be a good regular season team. But if you trade him for somebody who's not good, you might go backwards in the regular season. So, I still think Ben Simmons has got a lot of worth in the NBA, just not in Philadelphia.
Mike McGarry from the Press of Atlantic City. I know you're working on all of the high school football previews. Can you imagine? Can you believe it? That's 2 weeks from now, right?
Yeah, it's hard. It starts August 27th. I can't believe it starts 2 weeks before the NFL season starts. Today's the first day of practice. So I've been talking to high school football coaches. I've got to talk to a couple more. So high school football coaches, if you see my name pop up on your cell phone, still answer the phone, because we need to talk to you in the next couple of days or so. I can't believe how quickly this season starts, and it starts with a bang. Big events down in Ocean City, Mainland EHT on the 27th, Absecami, Hampton on the 27th. We're jumping right into it. There's no easing into the season right now.
Yeah, this is something different. They're doing this battle at the beach, 11 games at one venue.
Yeah, it's going to be a great weekend down there at the 27th, 28th, and 29th. Some really great games. Ocean City, Vineland, St. Joe versus Northeast of Philly. Holy Spirit plays DeMatha of Washington, D.C. on Saturday night. Millville against Union, a North Jersey Power. I love it because in the other sports, baseball and basketball, you can often go to one site and see a bunch of teams play, and it's a great way to spend a day and see a lot of teams. Now you're going to start doing it in football, and there's no better place to play football than 6th and Atlantic, with the Ferris wheel looming in the background there in Ocean City, especially hopefully be a cool breeze coming off the ocean that day.
All right, Mike McGarry from the Press of Atlantic City. Of course, so much happening right now. Phillies in first place, Eagles on Thursday night. Sixers have a summer league game today. A high school football season's almost here, and that's why Mike will be back on Wednesday. Thanks, pal.
All right, thanks a lot, Mike. See you later.
There's Mike McGarry from the Press of Atlantic City at AC Press McGarry. Follow him over there.